The other topic that we were really interested in was Davion Mitchell's shot. And in this week, as practice was going on, I heard Jason Anderson and others kind of ask Mike Brown about it. And the indication from them was that Davion's shot was altered in the sense that there was less arc. And as we said, I think a week or two ago, Davion Mitchell came into the league. I feel like midway through his rookie season, he just kind of put extra arc on the ball. It seemed to work at the end of that rookie season, but he was so inconsistent and was like a 32% 3-point shooter last season. And I think Anderson asked Mike Brown, "Is like, was there too much arc on it?" And Mike Brown, gave a Mike Brown answer. He's like, "I don't know, as long as it goes in."
Hey, I just wanted to make it. I don't care how high the ball goes or how low it goes, just go in.
But it seems like that was the main adjustment, trying not to just float it up there. I mean, I know more arc on the ball technically gives you a better angle to get the ball in. It gives you more like of a radius to the rim. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you're just kind of jacking it up, maybe it's not the most precise shot. You're kind of hoping for that better probability. You're not really like working on a better form or a better release or anything like that. But he nailed his first two, and I think his second shot was a deep one. It was like 3 feet behind the 3-point line from the top, and he sunk it. And he looked confident, was playing with confidence. We talked last week. I brought up that question of like, will Duarte challenge Davion for minutes? And we got a few comments where people were like, I'm not really too worried about Davion. And I think another person was like, I'm actually feel like Duarte has more to prove than Davion this season. And I kind of agree with that now. So I don't know. And another thing that the Toronto broadcast said was I think the color commentator was talking about how he spoke to Doug Christie before the game. And Doug Christie was telling him like, yeah, Davion's going to have a big year. It's going to be hard to keep him off the floor this season. So I think the buzz around the team is they're not really too worried about Davion Mitchell. And I think he missed his last 3 threes, but first preseason game, got off to a good start, kind of coming out at that moment, midway through the first quarter that he usually does, and supplied a few shots, supplied some defense. You kind of get in the mode of that when you start kind of like getting into a normal rotation. I would imagine he could more consistently play like that. And when the second unit isn't handling the full load like it did late in the first half and in throughout the third quarter, things will be easier for him in terms of other guys being out there like Sabonis and Fox. But yeah, I mean, I was happy with Davion's game. I think he played pretty well. I know that he posted a minus 22 or whatever, but that second unit was just collectively kind of off. I wouldn't put it all on Duarte, but it seemed like him and Monk probably didn't have the best games. So I wouldn't write too much or read too much into Davion not having a good game. I was pretty satisfied from what I saw out of Davion, and clearly there is an alteration to his shot. That was one of the things we were looking for. What looks different? And it looked like there was a little slightly less arc. It looked a little bit more like that shot early in his rookie season, and the confidence is there. I think when Kevin Huerter was talking to the media, I think it was either Wednesday or Friday, he was saying like, I think Matt George asked him, he's like, yeah, what do you think about Davion? I heard that he was like chirping after practice. And he's like, yeah, he's been talking a lot. He's way more vocal this season. And that was something he wanted to do last season. I remember at Summer League, in 2022, he's like, I need to be a vocal leader and all that stuff. It was better. I mean, he made improvements at the end of his rookie season. I remember Alvin Gentry talking about that, how he's not just a rookie that sits in the corner anymore. He's a little more vocal.
A month and a half ago, he was this quiet. He was still this quiet little rookie that would not say very many words during timeouts or anything, and I think that's changed drastically.
There was probably some improvements last year, but it was not to the degree that maybe Davion Mitchell and the coaches wanted. But it sounds like he's going all in, full swagger this season, very confident in his shot, confident in his play, obviously confident in his defense. And, I mean, that speaks for itself. And, yeah, I think a lot of the worries about Davion, not necessarily saying he's going to shoot 36, 37% from three, but I expect him to come out and play a lot better, and I'm not as worried about him anymore. Given it's just one preseason game. So preseason game where, quite frankly, the second unit was horrible.
I mean, I don't have that much. Davion's going to find the floor regardless with that defense. And I mean, other than his jump shot and specifically his 3-point jumper last year, I mean, he was solid. He's good at getting to the rim. He's good at finishing. Maybe not the best distributor. Like I'd say Malik's a better distributor, but I mean, his defense obviously is stellar. Yeah, I mean, it's like we've said, it's like his a place in the league, a place on the floor is really going to come down to his jump shot, right? So
Yeah.
it was interesting to see his shot a little flatter. I unfortunately didn't get to see it as I couldn't watch the game, and he was
And
out.
then they
By the
don't
time
have
I
any of
turned
the
it on.
clips on NBA.com.
Yeah,
Like,
so I'm
can't see
upset.
it.
I want to see that deep one you're talking about, but
Yeah,
I trust your word for it. I didn't mind that high arcing shot, but at the same time, like if you're just jacking it up there, I get the radius and whatnot. That's a better like angle to get to the rim. There's like more of it to go in, I guess, of the ball, higher chance. But it's also like a longer way to get to the rim. And if you don't have that touch and you're just throwing it up there, then it's really not doing you any good. So maybe a straighter line to the rim gives him a better touch. I don't know.
I wonder if Steph told him, he's like, yeah, no, the arc thing works for me, but
He's like, I actually have touch.
yeah. So maybe you want to go back to what you were doing.
Yeah,
but
and
maybe
go
ahead.
No. I mean, maybe he did say that because he wasn't terrible. I mean, he wasn't great his rookie year, but he definitely had stretches where he wasn't terrible. I mean, Summer League was a long time ago where he won MVP, but I feel like he was pretty decent from three there too. And I remember his shot being a little flatter. So, okay, but I mean, then again, he wasn't very good his rookie year. We'll see. He's older, more wise.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that was interesting too is I think when he came in midway through the first, it wasn't for Fox. I think Fox, Monk, and him were out there together in that mid to late first quarter. And I wonder if that's kind of a thing that they want to do. I mean, I still always think about at the end of his rookie season when they had Fox, DiVincenzo, and him playing against the Bucks, and who was guarding Chris Middleton? It was Davion Mitchell for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And he was battling with them, I mean, not making things easy on a guy that has a huge height advantage on him. So especially if you have someone like JaVale or Alex Len there, it's one of those things where maybe you can play a little smaller 1 through 3 if you have that imposing presence in the middle. But that was out there with Sabonis, so I don't know. That might be an interesting thing to mix in the 3-guard lineups. That was something we talked about last season a little bit. And so that'll be interesting to see if that can kind of pan out. And that kind of probably depends on the shooting because you have Fox and Monk who probably take ball handling duties away from Davion, just being the two better ones. So that'll be an interesting thing to keep an eye on. I think Davion can definitely play his way into winning more minutes, and you kind of start talking about a 3-guard lineup with either Murray or Barnes and Sabonis being the 4 and 5. That could be a good closing lineup. That could be a closing lineup you see a lot. And with Davion's defense, that would be a huge help and something that they want. And again, for the 1000th time, the shooting is so important to that. So it's good to see him be confident. And that's another thing is just like, maybe you're not thinking so much about the shot now. It's like, oh, I got to get more arc on it. I got to change it. It's more just let me just shoot the ball. So sometimes simplifying things and just doing and not thinking so much is important. And that's something that Mike Brown's talked about with the team as a whole, like talking about the first couple practices. He's like, yeah, they're doing a good job. There's some good reaction time to guys, but you can still tell guys are thinking about it. And you kind of need to take that element of thinking out. Things need to become second nature. So in regards to that really seems to fit into what should be able to work and help Davion, which is just shoot, just be a shooter, So maybe that calms him down a bit and makes him a little more productive in that sense. But he was good. I think I was pretty happy with what Davion brought, and I think he showed glimpses of what could be a real breakout season for him. And he can really help this team out because if you get him on the floor, not only late in games in the regular season, but out in the playoffs. I mean, we were talking about it's like maybe there's an argument for why they didn't have Davion out there, but it's like, man, that defense. I mean, with Steph scoring 50 in Game 7, it's just like,
shoot, yeah.
Davion played more than 8 minutes. If Davion gives that reason, like, no, I have to be out there because I am shooting, 34, 35%, knock on wood, that helps the team out immensely. So Davion's been a big topic this offseason or this kind of preseason area, kind of time, and he's kind of taking the heat off because us Cap City clowns really bring the heat.